Hey, this is Buster. Forgive the video format and the quality and all that fun stuff. I just want to get the news out about this new rally format. And I'm not a big YouTuber. I don't have a whole lot of videography skills. And I didn't have a camera operator, so I wanted to focus on all the material down here on the table because that's really what the rally is all about. It's not about my ugly mug being on video. So I'm going to go through a new rally format. If you've been used to adventure rallies, motorcycle adventure rallies where you show up and maybe you're given a GPX file or a couple of GPX files, you get easy, hard, medium, whatever ratings, or maybe it's a situation where you're camping out and then the next day meet at this sign over here. Bob's going to lead a ride through this particular area, and then over here at this other area, Jim's going to lead another ride, and everybody bunches up and gets together and rides the ride. You end up sucking out a lot of dust. You end up riding as a group, which is safe, but you end up usually riding with a fairly large group, and you're just playing follow the leader, and you're not doing navigation or orienteering. And I think that's what's kind of nice about this new rally format that's come out. Like Mountain Madness from Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness, and then the Geico Adventure Rally that was over in Julian last year. There's been some other ones out there. There's one over in Spain that I was listening to on Adventure Rider Radio. That's a very similar format. It's all about orienteering and making your own adventure, not playing follow the leader. So what this format is, and I'm not sure, it's called rally. It's called, sometimes it's like it's almost like geocaching on a motorcycle, but it's really not, you're not picking up little boxes of rocks or any shit like that. You're really out there making your own ride. You're going out there usually in a team of 2 or more people, for safety reasons, of course. And you end up with you're given various bits of information to go and collect points. So let's take a look at a map here, for example. This is a map right over here from the Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness up in Granite Mountain up in Prescott, Arizona. And yes, we were team the Fugawis, which is a long-lost tribe of Indians, but that's a whole other story. So they give you a map over here, and it's got all these little points, and they're all numbered on here, like point number 60, point number 35, and all this. And they end up giving you a book, and that book has information in it about those spots on the map. So those spots on the map, you can look at, one of them is like number 49, so you just flip to number 49, wherever that happens to be in here. I've got it all out of order right now. But it'll tell you like its difficulty rating, it'll tell you how many points it has. So each of these, here's something that's, each of these spots on the map have a different difficulty level. Some of them are very hard, some of them are very easy, some of them are on pavement, some of them are on simple graded dirt roads, and some of them are some pretty gnarly single track, depending on where you're at. The Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness event was split up into different classes, multi-cylinder, single-cylinder classes, and then were further subdivided by GPS and no GPS. The Geico Rally was just everybody all together riding. There was no classes split up, but there was still harder areas. Like with Mountain Madness, there was some pretty serious single track on it. There's like Yankee Doodle up there in Prescott Valley was one of the rides, or some of the spots along Yankee Doodle were part of the ride. So what you do is you sit down the night before and you go through this book and you look at the map and you figure out what do you want to see. So you could take a competitive approach to this, or you could take just a approach where I want to go see something cool. I'm flipping through this book and ooh, this Senator pullout looks really cool, or this abandoned 2-track, let's check that out. And then you find it on the map, and then you go stitch these together. And at the end of the day, you come back. Usually you have to be back by a certain time of the day, otherwise there's time penalties. And you assess all your points. Like this, in this particular case, this Senator pullout was worth 30 points, but you go to this abandoned 2-track, it's worth 85 points. But its difficulty is a 4, and this one's just a difficulty 1. So this difficulty 1 is just a highway pullout off the side of the highway, and then this one is actually more of a 2-track, slightly off camber, maybe rocky or something like that. Here's a 3, probably paved, but that was worth 102 points. Now, or that might have been way the heck out there. So if you look on the map where like the the main destination was up, main location where headquarters or where everything was staged out as was up over here. And then all of a sudden you end up way out south, so it ends up making for a very long day. So these points that tend to, these areas of the map that are way out tend to be higher points. But the idea is that you put together a ride and you accumulate as many points as you can if you want to be competitive, or you just simply go see interesting stuff. So in the case with Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness, we sat down. We were in a class that was a multi-cylinder class. My team, I was a 4-person team, and we ended up sitting down the night before, or actually the morning of, because they gave you the map and books in the mornings. You had to turn them in every night when you got back in. That was the rules for this one format. Adventure Rally over in Julian, they let you keep the books. They handed them to you as soon as you showed up that night, and then you kept that map the whole time. So for Mountain Madness, you basically sit down and plan, and you figure out where are these points you want to go to. Our class that we were in a multi-cylinder GPS class where we're using GPS. So they gave us truncated GPS coordinates. These GPS coordinates only have 3 letters on them, or three decimals on them. So they kind of got you to a general area, but you still had to look around. What you were trying to find were these little tags in the trees. I wish I had one of them, but they're about this big, and a little plastic tag with a number on them, like a serial number. They're used for like what are those fire extinguisher inspections and things like that. And it's just a little red tag that has white numbers on it, and they zip tie it onto something. It'll be on a fence, it'll be on a tree, it'll be on the back of a windmill or something like that. It'll just be out there. And so what you do is you go to the area where this tag is at, where you think it's going to be. Here they've got a picture, and in this particular case they have like a circle where the tag is hanging from a tree, or this one's where they've got a little red circle there on there that says, look here. I'll lift this up a little bit closer to you. So you can see the circle on there, and in that particular case, they're like, okay, there's a tag hanging there. Excuse me. And so you go find that tag. You write it down in your logbook, and you move on to the next one. And you go hunt down all these spots, and then you tally up your points at the end of the day, and then eventually your points at the end of the rally. And you see how well you do against other riders. If you're competitive, you can have a really good time. And if you're not competitive, you can still have a really good time just seeing new stuff, because different from a normal rally format where you're given a GPX or a leader, you're out there making a ride, and you're very rarely eating dust. And it was really interesting for the Mountain Madness event. I think it was probably because there's such a large area and small number of riders. We didn't see many other riders while we were out there. We didn't eat anybody's dust other than our own. We were a 4-person team, so you had to eat a little bit of dust, but at least it wasn't 16 people in front of you. But it was pretty cool. And it was just, we made our own ride. The first day, I think we went way down here and went down to Crown King and around, and we shot up through this area, and we swept up a bunch of points. And so you end up with these, you can end up with a lot of strategy and planning in here. You end up with a lot of navigation. That's the really fun part about it, is navigation. There was other classes in the Horizons Unlimited event that was no GPS, so they didn't give you GPS coordinates on this thing, and so you were stuck with this map. And this map, the quality is lacking. It's not very high detailed, so you were really having some fun navigating with this map, and then the pictures. In this particular case, they gave you some instructions on how to get there, some approaches and stuff like that might have helped in navigation a little bit. So that's the rally format, and that's how the Hum one was. Then there was the Adventure Rider, or the ADV rally, over in Julian, Julian, California. And that one had this much bigger map with the spots on it. So again, you've got numbered spots on this map, you got numbered spots on this map, and it covered a fairly large area. So there's the Salton Sea over here. Here's Julian up over here, El Cajon, Tijuana is down over here. So you were ranging. I mean, it was a lot of riding. You go all the way down here to Tijuana, all the way up here to Salton Sea. You go all the way out here to East Jesus and all these weird places where there's a bunch of free living people live out there. Or way out west over here to El Cajon, and up north towards the Julian area. It's just amazing. For this particular rally, it was really cool because this is mountains and this was low desert and sand. And so you had this really great mix of different kinds of riding out here, a little bit of rocks in the middle, a little bit of really cool a lot of twisty roads and a lot of really nice dirt to explore, and some really nice open sand riding. So it was a really good mix, and you had to plan your ride according to your skill set and the bike that you had, which was great. It was really, really neat event. You ended up camping out here in Stagecoach Trails RV park, and so you camped every day. Neat thing that they did on top of the points and the spots that you had to go get. Each spot had again, here's let me fold this up a little bit. Here's their book, and they got, here's the bonus value. Actually, here is the points values. You've got midpoint. They give a picture of it, maybe the location on the map where it's at. They kind of describe it. Like this particular one is fun, fun little trail, ain't it? And I think that's a little bit of sarcasm because it looks like it's a single track type of trail. And you get into some easier stuff back here. Here's a hidden mine that you could have gotten, and then there's some easy stuff right along the roadside. There's some simple dirt roads to explore, and there's some stuff that was really far out. I mean, it was a really spread out rally, so you had to do a lot of time management because if you came home late, there was some penalties or potential penalties. But on top of all these points that you had, now in this particular case, they did not give you a GPS. They gave you the map and the book, and you got to keep it at night. So what we did was we sat down with our phones. I was going to pull my phone out and show you, but that's what's recording this video. We use the GPSs. We sit here with the map and looking at these points, and we see, okay, this is 8. It's like around this area. We'll end up going on the map on our GPSs or on our phones and figuring out where that is. And we laid down a waypoint, and then we were using GPS to navigate. You can just as easily use a map. I think the GPS kind of got us lost a couple of times. Maps would have been just fine also. It's how you like to navigate. I think a long time ago GPSs were gimmicky and they were kind of a little bit unreliable. But nowadays they're very reliable. The maps are very good on them. So I think people use GPS for navigation now, and it's worthwhile to get familiar with your GPS unit and how to navigate from point A to point B rather than just being given a GPS track. Which is why I really like using GPSs on this. I can plan out a route. I do the same thing on my normal rides. If I go out for a day ride, I plan a route. Why don't I practice in a rally format? It's really cool. They had bonus things, kind of like this is a treasure hunt or a scavenger hunt. I think scavenger hunt is another good description of it. In this particular case, they had things where, like, if you found donkeys, you took a picture. So with this particular one, for Mountain Madness, you had a score sheet. For this, we had to have an Instagram account, and we had to post our pictures of all of us with they got these hashtags on here. And so we'd go take a picture at this spot with the full team, either everybody's faces or everybody's bikes, and these hashtags, and those would end up getting watched by scorekeepers back at the headquarters, and they'd see which spots you ended up getting, and they'd be able to see where you were, your progression. It wasn't anything like tracking with a spot or inReach or anything like that, but I guess they got to see some progress and some cool pictures coming in. But that was how they knew where you visited. And then also, as you're out riding around, if you saw a prickly pear of cactus, you'd get some points. You get all these little fun points, like with cows, or if you ran into a phone booth, took a picture of your team from the phone booth or one of these things, and you could end up getting bonus points for that. And then also bonus points for like certain cities that you visited. If you went to Julian or if you went to Campo, you got a picture with your team in front of the sign. And then you sent that in with these hashtags, and then those hashtags would equate to points. And then at the end of the day, you figure out what they'll end up calculating what your points are. And this format was really cool too. And the adventure rally at Julian was nice. They ended up having a lot of entertainment there. There was axe throwing, there was a beer truck, there was a dinner was being served. It was a really good time there. And it was pretty cool because they scored every night. They showed the score of the people for that day rather than overall standing. So you didn't find out who was the leader until the very end of the rally, because you could have someone show up on day 2 and do a pretty good standing for day 2, and they'd get recognized for that, which is really a nice thing, because it's such a long rally. People were able to participate and start a day late or 2 days late, and still get a good call out for getting some good points on a particular day. And then at the very last day, they end up calling out the rankings of teams, the top, I think it was top 10 teams, and you get to see where your team stood in point standings. A few tips about doing these types of events. There's another event actually, very similar to this. It's coming up in March by Crooked Raven. He's doing a virtual one, and he's going to send out a GPX file with a bunch of waypoints in it, and then you go out and you find all those waypoints, and he's got tags like Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness did. So you go write down a bunch of tag numbers for the waypoints that he has. So he'll have waypoint 51, and you go out there and you find that tag, and it's the tag is not intentionally hidden to be hard to get to. It may be hidden a little bit so that it doesn't end up disappearing by somebody seeing it and just yanking it off. So look behind a few signs, or look behind fences and things like that. You'll find that tag. It's not to be deceptive. It's just put in non-obvious places to protect the tags. But so you write down those tags, and at the end of the day, at the end of the event, you send in a score sheet with all those tag numbers, and he validates this. Those tags are the actual tags that are supposed to be there. Some of them you take a picture, I think, and some of the other ones you answer a question about, like, what's the model of this bulldozer at this waypoint 31, and you respond back, what type of, it's a Tonka toy or whatever kind of bulldozer. So he's got some interesting stuff there. So that's the Crooked Raven virtual tour. That's March of 2020. I really hope this catches on, because this is a really cool format. Now, a couple of things that are handy. Of course, get your emergency satellite tracker. That is great for if you have a problem, if you break a leg or anything like that. Spare set of keys. And then one thing we found really nice as a team was to be able to have communicators, have a helmet communication system. And we really like the Pack Talk system because it was a mesh network. You didn't have to ride in a particular order. So you were able to switch off who's leading throughout the rally. And that allows you to play a little bit where one person is getting the picture and writing stuff down while another person is getting ready to go to the next spot. And so he's setting up either his maps or his GPS to try to figure out, how do I get to this next location, what number are we going to, and planning the next destination, so that by the time the guy getting pictures or doing everything for that spot you're at right then hops back on his bike, that other guy is leading, and can talk over the intercom to everybody else, and switching up positions. So the mesh network allows you to switch up positions without having to stay in a particular order. Also, when you disconnect from getting too far away and reconnect, it reconnects really nicely. It's also handy if they have those kind of scavenger hunt style things in here where you can yell out that you see a donkey or you see a phone booth or something like that, and your team can pull over and check things out. Or if you're looking for one of those last minute waypoints, and you can scream out that it's off to the right, that you just blew past it and you got to do a U-turn. It allows you to connect and communicate with the team and keep everybody on the same page. It's also fun to hear some good jokes while you're riding too. It's a different dimension of riding. I know people like alone time in their helmet, but sometimes it can be interesting being on the intercom. I'm trying to think of any other tips. Reading glasses, if you're my age, reading glasses to do this. But just sit down and plan your day. Maybe you're doing a big loops or you're doing these really technical stuff. Just plan the ride that you want to ride, and it can be a lot of fun. The team that I was on right here, we took first place in our class, which was GPS multi-cylinder. That was one of the 4 classes for the Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness. Got a nice little trophy out of that. I should have put it on the table. Oh, that would have been cool. And then for the Mountain Madness event, we ended up with 5th place overall, which was still awesome. We felt really good because there was a lot of teams for this event, and everybody was grouped into one big pile. And there were some pretty serious riders at this event, and so we were really, really happy with 5th place standing. Had I not broken my ankle on day 1, we would have gotten more points later on days 2 and 3. But there was like 2 or 3 that we missed that we probably could have gotten ourselves up to 3rd place. First place was far ahead of us. They were way out there. So yeah, that's it. I'll just take a couple of these things and I'll show them closely. So that's the map. That's the one for the Julian Adventure. That's the ADV rally. It's sponsored by Geico. This is what their book looked like. And then this was the map for Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness, and you can see how non-detailed it is. So that was fun finding your stuff on it. And of course their book was all about just the tags and the points, and that's all you went to. And so their tags were all different difficulty ratings and different scores. And then like in your book, you'd end up writing down the tag number on this particular one. Or we had a little sheet. Let me see if I've got it in here. No, I don't have the score sheet. Now this is actually just scrap pieces of paper, or actually it was a map. So this was in my tank bag in my map pocket, and this was the spots that we were going to. We're going to 64, then number 2, then 42, then 54, then 10. Let me flip this around. And those are just little notes I was taking throughout the day. We'd in the morning we'd sit down and go, okay, we're gonna go this, and then around lunchtime-ish, which we weren't eating lunch at a restaurant. We were just stuffing our faces with food out of our tank bags. Then we'd sit down and lay out a plan for the afternoon of which spots we were going to go to, just to see how well we rode and see how far we were getting. And so that was just scribbling down the spots that we're going to go to, and then every time we'd pull over someplace, let's say we were at 16 and 28 was the next spot, somebody would be out there getting all the information for 16, somebody else would be planning for spot number 28, finding out where it is, finding out what that tag looks like. So this is tag point, tag point 48, and so they can look at the picture and they can understand that it's that's really important for everybody to understand what they're looking for in a picture. Because in some of these cases, you're looking for a specific turnout. Like, so here's the Lake Moreno turnout, and it's it looks like it's actually part of the marina or something like that. And so you want most of your riders to be familiar with even that, or at least be able to describe that over your intercom to say, hey, we're going to the marina, or we got to look for this, and this is what it looks like. So everybody goes to the same place. So I hope, again, I said it again, I really hope this catches on. I want to try out that virtual rally in March of 2020, and then see what other kind of rallies. I know there's another scheduled one for the Julian rally for ADV rally. That was in, I think it was November. So I'm going to definitely go to that one because we got free entry with our 5th place results from last year. So I'll definitely go to that one again. Even if I didn't get the free entry, I'd still be going to that. Unfortunately, the Horizons Unlimited Mountain Madness events, the one in Arizona got canceled. We don't know if there's going to be another one next year or not. It's just keep an eye out. There's one up in the Monashees. There's one out in the East Coast. They have them in Spain. I think they did a Mountain Madness event over in Australia too. So there's these events are worldwide. And then I forget, it was an Adventure Rider Rally or Adventure Rider Radio episode a couple of episodes ago that had talk about an event over in Spain that was very similarly set up. It was an orienteering event where the tags were set up, and the guy actually found a lot of track out there in the mountains of Spain, and it sounds really, really interesting. So if you're off in that part of the world, or if you're an international traveler with your motorcycle, that's another event to follow. And I want to keep finding these things because they're a really great event to go to. All right, thank you for watching, and everybody be safe out there, and take care.